Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Melissa, and today we're going to be doing a little Sephora haul. Well, actually it's Sephora and maybe a few things from Ulta. I just remembered. Yes, there's a box down here from Ulta. Okay, so as I mentioned in my hey, remember me video, someone had asked if I participated in the Sephora VIB sale that happened this summer. This is the second year they've done that, so now I'm beginning to wonder if this is going to become a routine thing where they have it actually 3 times a year as opposed to just 2 times a year. I don't know. Time will tell. What I mentioned in that video was I was really too busy to place an order. I loaded my cart up and I never closed the deal. So probably about a week later, maybe 10 days later, I get an email from Sephora saying, hey, we missed you. Here's 20% coupon for an order. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to let this opportunity go by too. So I did place an order. And so today we're going to be talking about that order. And I think this Ulta order was a 20% off coupon from Ulta. So I'm going to pull out my receipt from Ulta. This was from the end of June. I've not opened a thing in this box. I'm telling you people, it's just been like crazy town. So let's just quickly talk about the things that were in my Ulta order, and it was mostly skincare. Mostly skincare and one eyeshadow palette, which is still in the box. So a lot of you know that I was really in love with this face cream from Neutrogena. It's the Hydra Boost Gel Cream for extra dry skin, and it has hyaluronic acid in it. I love this stuff. So when I saw the 20% off coupon, I was like, yes, I'm going to buy it at 20% off. And I've been dabbling in some other products from this line, and I thought, well, let me go ahead and get a few other things from this line to try. And, you know, disclaimer, in case you missed it, I haven't opened any of these things, but I am planning to. I'm very close to finishing up my current face wash, and then I'm going to dive into the Hydra Boost Gentle Cleansing Lotion. So I am really anxious to try that, but I am determined to finish up what's opened first. And then there was, oh, it's in my hand, this Hydra Boost City Shield Eye Serum. I don't know if you can see in there. It has like little micro beads in there. Multivitamin capsules to hydrate the eye. So that's in there. I have the one that's just plain in the tube, and I really like it a lot. It's a really nice eye cream. So I'm excited to try this line. And I have also like their face mask that I bought at another time. I'm kind of getting off topic here. I also picked up one of my favorite sets of the Impress Press-On Manicure, this dark purple, and I really like the accent nail here. You know, I'm a huge fan of these press-on nails, and I kind of wish they would come in just all solid colors, but they always come with some accent nails, which isn't always my bag, but I do try and use them because then I can get 2 manicures out of 1 box. And this little accent nail I find is not too crazy. And then the last thing, I'm going to open this up, is something that's been on my list for since the beginning of the year, and it's the Pretty Cool Dose of Colors palette. So it's one of their 5-pan gradient palettes, and the promotional video that went along with this was stunning, and I was like, I've got to get it. It's all cool tone colors, just so I don't blind you here. It's like brownie taupe colors. I haven't even swatched this yet. I'm super excited to try it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and swatch it right now. Isn't that pretty? I know it looks super basic. So yeah, I've had this since June, and I'm just swatching it now for the first time. All right, so let's move on to the Sephora haul. I am wearing a few of the things that I picked up in that order, so I'm going to talk about those first. First thing I want to talk about is the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Finish Sublime Perfection Foundation. Ooh. As I say to my daughter, it's a very bougie foundation. She's like, what'd you get? What'd you get? A very bougie foundation. So I've left it in the box because it is really a beautiful box. And the bottle is really pretty. She really is over the top with her packaging. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because I feel like you do pay for that ultimately, but I'm not gonna lie. I really like this. I actually like this kind of packaging better than her eyeshadow palettes. I think are like way too much. I think this is beautiful. A beautiful frosted bottle, and then you pull off the cap and there is a pump. It is quite liquidy. Can you see it running down my hand there? If you don't like liquidy foundations, this is not going to be for you. So let's just talk about this foundation really quickly. I do have the product page up on my computer because I wanted to have some information on hand. This does come in 36 shades. She does a really nice job describing the foundation because I picked this up without swatching it in store, and I know that looked really light on my hand, but it is kind of a sheer foundation, and it's the end of the summer, so my skin has a little bit of tan to it. I think it's going to be perfect as my summer tan fades and I get back to like my normal skin tone, but I don't think it looks bad on my face today. So I picked up Light 3, and it's described as light with neutral undertones. I love when a company puts the undertone in the description. You know, Light 1 is lightest with pink undertones. Light 2 is lightest with peach undertones. Light 3 is what I have, the neutral undertones. And Light 4 is with peach neutral undertones. Like, this is really specific. If you really like look at your face and you understand like what your undertones are or what works best for you, I think it's fairly easy to pick out a shade for yourself online. I know that a neutral undertone is what I like best on my skin. So I'm always looking for that undertone in a foundation. Enough of that. So this is described as a long-wearing foundation that's customizable and builds from a sheer to medium coverage. And in the how to use section, it says you can, for the sheerest coverage, you want to use your fingers, and for a heavier coverage, you want to use a brush. So I did like this half of my face initially with just my fingers, and then this half of my face with the brush. And I'm going to include the footage that I took while I was applying that so you can see it. When I looked at that, I felt like that coverage was not that different, quite honestly. Maybe a little bit heavier with the brush, but not that different. And I actually really like applying foundation with my fingers the best, so that's probably how I would typically apply this foundation, is with my fingers. And then after it's set for a little while, I did go back and apply a little, like another layer in places where I felt like I needed a little extra coverage around my nose and around this sunspot here. And I think it did a nice job covering it and into like a medium coverage. I think if you really wanted a full medium all over your face, if you let it sit and then apply a little bit more, you would get that. I let it set for probably, I don't know, I did my eyes and then I came back and I was like, you know, it feels a little tacky to me. I do not like that feeling. So I went ahead and really lightly set it with a little powder. That's how I achieved the coverage today. I forgot to mention, I did put a little bit of the Professional in my T-zone. And the reason why I did that, because I did use this a couple times, I felt like, it did settle into my pores a little bit, and it settled into my pores less using this little bit of primer. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you can look up close a little bit more and get a better view of the foundation. So we're still getting to know each other, but I think we're going to be good friends. So then the next thing I want to talk about is what's on my eyes. I did prime my eyelids with the Milani eyeshadow primer, which I think is awesome. If you don't have it, you should go out and get it. So the palette that I used on my eyes is the Bounce and Blur eyeshadow palette from BareMinerals. And this is in the shade range Dawn. So this palette comes in two color ranges, Dawn, which I think is a little bit what I would say the cooler tone palette, and then Dusk, which is a slightly warmer tone palette. So I went for the cooler tone palette because that's what I like best on me. And today I used 3 of the colors. Pink Cloud all over my lid, like literally all over my lid, from my lash line up to my brow bones. And then I took this shade that's Hazy Taupe, and I put that up in my crease. And then for an accent under my lower lash line, I used the darkest shade, which is Stormy Sky. Now, I wanted to try this line from BareMinerals because it's this Bounce and Blur line, which maybe you've seen it, where it has like a bouncy texture, like you can press your finger in, it leaves a little indent. Like you have to press pretty hard. I think it's kind of a stretch on the eyeshadows. We'll get to the blush in a little bit. They tell you can apply it with your fingers. I don't really care to apply my eyeshadow with my fingers. I prefer to apply it with a brush, and I just use the regular brushes that I normally do, and it worked out great. What I will say is these shades are like have some of the teeniest, tiniest, finest glitter in them. So it says it's a weightless cream powder eyeshadow that resists creasing and fallout, blends like a dream, no brush needed. It doesn't feel that creamy to me. It feels like just a regular eyeshadow palette. It says it has color smart pearls that reflect and refract light for luminous, never flat color that's wearable on all skin tones. Each shade has different amounts of pearls for finishes ranging from satin to shimmer. So yeah, it definitely does, and you can see it up close. So let's go ahead and zoom in to that as well. I don't know if the camera is going to pick up this like really fine shimmer. I didn't realize it had that little shimmer in it when I bought it, and you don't even really see it when you swatch it. I don't mind the little bit of shimmer in it because it's not too much, and I will agree that it really had almost zero fallout. So I like that it had zero, like very almost, whew. So I liked that it had like zero fallout. So the other thing I picked up from this line was the blush. The shade I got was Pink Sky. Like you can see now that I left a little bit of a fingerprint in there. I don't know if you can. I think it's a little bit of a gimmick. I applied it with a brush. I did try, the first day I used it, I did try to apply it with my fingers, and I was like, this does not go on as nicely with my fingers as it does with a brush. I felt like it deposited too much color and it was hard to blend, so I just used my favorite blush brush, and I think it worked beautifully. And I think it has a little bit of a luminous quality to it, so I don't have any highlighter on, I just have this blush, and I think I like that when a blush has that luminous quality to it, because I think it can be a time saver. When you're getting ready in the morning, you don't necessarily always have to put a highlighter on, and I think it's not too much for work. So the other thing I'm wearing today is I picked up the Blink tubing mascara. So a couple people have recommended this to me as one of the best tubing mascaras, and I thought, great, I'll give it a try. I read it in blogs or in, I see it all the time that it's one of the best tubing mascaras. Now, I just have tried it for the very first time today. My first impressions are meh, okay. Sometimes mascara changes as you use it. It was very, very wet, and I don't like my mascara to be so super wet. I feel like this eye, where my eyelashes tend to be not as curled as this eye, I don't think it looks that good. I just don't. I feel like the curl that I put in there before I applied the mascara, it just weighed it down, and I have no curl over there. this side, which always looks perfect because, I don't know, those eyelashes are on the side that I sleep on. So they're always getting curled every night, and they always look great. This eye, not so much. I even broke the cardinal rule and decided to try letting it dry and curling it again. It was just a mess. It was a mess. And because it was so wet, I got a lot of transfer as I was applying it. I had to like clean up my shadow. My initial reaction to this is, I don't love it. Probably would not repurchase it, but I need to use it a little bit and maybe let it dry down a little bit. It's super wet, like it's such a wet formula. Here's the brush. It is just kind of a standard brush. It's not super thick. So if you have used that and love it, does it improve with age? Like sometimes mascara improves with age. I have two other things that I picked up, and then I'll show you. Kate also placed a few items on my order because why not? So the next thing I have is like a little cream eyeshadow from Wander Beauty. I like this little brand. They often have the things that are multi-purpose, good for travel. I always check and see what they have new. So what I picked up was their like cream eyeshadow, and this shade is it on here bigger so I can read it? It is time for glasses because who can read these little itty bitty things? Steel Street is the shade, and it's just a kind of a real basic like taupey shade with like a doe foot applicator, nothing remarkable. I don't know if you can see it there. So I have worn this twice and I like it. It's not like a super dark color. I think I like it best when I pair it with something else in my crease. I don't love it up in my crease, but on my lid I really like it. It does say that it's like crease proof, and if you have hooded eyes like I do, I'm gonna say no. It will crease on you. I found by the end of the day I had definite creasing, but it is pretty rare that an eyeshadow doesn't crease on me by the end of the day. I have pretty heavily hooded eyes. It would take a lot for something not to crease on me by the end of the day. But I thought it would be fun for traveling. It would be nice to have a little something that you just whisk on. So my first couple uses of that, I liked it and I liked the color. It looks really subtle here on the back of my hands, but my hands are much darker than my face. It does come in other shades. My first impressions were good on this. I liked it. The last thing that I'm going to share with you, I haven't really even played with. It's another eyeshadow palette. I ended up picking up the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Jackie Aina collaboration. And the reason why I picked this up, I really liked that it had some interesting color in it, but it also had some pretty neutrals. I particularly really loved this shade. Of course, it's a taupe, but I liked these like purpley shades and some of these other shimmer shades. So this is something I really need to sit down and play with and try out and see what I think. But it was honestly the first eyeshadow palette that I've been really excited about. You know, the BareMinerals palette I really wanted to try because I thought the formula was different, so it was kind of unique in that way. I don't think the color story is that unique, but this I thought had a really beautiful, unique color story. More on that at a later time. And my Kate put a few things in with this order. She picked up a replacement of the Tarte Exposed 12-Hour Amazonian Clay Blush, which, oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful blush. She said, Mom, mine's like crumbles. She goes, but I love it so much. And I think this is like, if you're looking for a beautiful neutral blush, this is really fantastic. And the other thing she picked up, oh, I need to look this up because I want to get, she's already thrown out the packaging. She picked up, this is the YSL Volupte Liquid Color Balm. It really mimics the packaging from their lip oil. She loved the lip oil. And she was like, Mom, I really want you to try this out and tell me what you think of the texture of this. So this is more like a balm, so it's thicker than the lip oil, although I think most of the colors are pretty sheer. So I'm going to go ahead and take my lipstick off and give this a swipe so I can try it. And before I do, I'll just tell you what I have on my lips. I have the Kosas Rosewater lipstick, which I have to say it's growing on me. You know, when the first couple times I tried it, I was like, this looks like orangey on me. And I don't know what has happened. It now looks like the pinky nude that they tell me it is. It really has grown on me. She wants me to try this. She has the lightest shade, which is a translucent ballet slipper pink. So I don't know if you can see, this is what the shade is inside the tube. I love their little applicator that they have. But you can see that's really very sheer. She says it smells like mangoes to her. And I think it does. It has a little bit of a fruity smell. And it is an interesting texture. She seemed to think what? She seemed to feel like it had a Vaseline texture. But it's funny when you like press your lips together, it changes it temporarily, like it almost feels like watery. It's really hard to describe. And then it just almost instantly dries down to the balmy feel. So it has a lot of good ingredients in it. It's supposed to be really moisturizing with a little hint of color. She likes just this really pale color. She has a lot of color still in her lips. So I publish videos every Saturday morning, and I'll leave a link to last week's video up here in case you missed it. And I hope you will hit this little bee icon here and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss future videos. I'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye.